Yo guys, welcome back to another video. The Japan Nationals just took place yesterday as of recording this video. It was a really kind of crazy tournament, some twists and turns, some things that people weren't expecting, especially the leader that actually won it all. But I just wanted to make a video kind of going over everything, looking at some of the lists, some of the people, the people that won the tournament, the topping list, the topping players, and give anyone, because I live in Japan, I can speak and understand Japanese, so I wanted to just make like a quick little overview video for anyone who might be, in North America or Europe, or you can only speak English and you may have not been able to follow everything that was going on, right? I just wanted to make a little video also because it was just awesome and I wanted to talk about it, right? But yeah, without any further ado, let's just get started and let's jump into it. All right, let's get started. What we're gonna do first is we're going to look at the top. I guess it was supposed to be top 32, but I think like 3 people had to kind of drop out or something. I'm not 100% sure on what actually happened, but we did have 29 people who made it into the tournament, like for this, just the finals. The way the Japan Nationals worked is they had all the the regionals throughout the year, and then the winners from those regionals got to go to like a second preliminary kind of thing, and then the top, I guess 32 from that were able to go to the nationals that just took place this weekend. So a little bit different, I guess, from what a lot of other countries and other places do, but it was really interesting, and I think it kind of like makes it really hype and makes it like such a crazy like climactic moment. But before we jump into the lists, let's take a minute. I want to take a minute to acknowledge the Ayatora Drip and Nami masterclass that happened. This was the first game on the stream, and so this is Ayatora. He's the player who won, I believe it was the last year in August, the Tokyo CS. He's the one who won with Nami, right? As you can see, and it's really funny because he just like showed up blinged out, like soaking wet in this drip right here. Look at that suit, the chain and everything. This dude was cool as a freaking cucumber. He took 16th place too. He won his match on stream here. I think Katakuri is actually a pretty easy matchup for Nami, especially in OPO6. The Katakuri player kind of made a few misplays too. I think they said later on they didn't practice Nami, which is like, man, you probably should have. You knew this guy was coming to nationals, so should have had at least a little practice. They got rid of Nami, and they ditched their Nekomamushi as counter when they had 2 beiges in hand. And I don't think Ayatora runs Zeph. I don't have the full list. I apologize for that. But it's essentially like his old OG list, but he runs the new 2-cost white smoke event. That gives you plus 1k for the turn, and then you get to draw a card. Really good. You just go watch this video if you like Nami. If you're a Nami player, I'm a casual Nami player, but I'm a Nami stan, so I'm all for it. This dude, every time he's on stream, you just get a masterclass. So if you're interested in that, or you want to start learning how to play Nami, go watch him. Go watch Ayatora. He's crazy and he's got the drip, man. I appreciate that so much because so many of these players come to these nationals and these big tournaments and they're like nervous, and I totally understand. I would be like shitting my pants too. I get it. But when you see somebody like this who's just you can tell he's like just trying to have fun, and he's like, whatever happens. I'm gonna show up in a suit and a chain and like bling out and just have fun. I respect that so much. Like, I can't state how much I love these kinds of players and these kinds of games, because it really is like, at the end of the day, it's a card game, man, and it's like we're all trying to have fun and we just love One Piece, right? So honorable mention, like just shout out for Ayatora here. You can follow him on Twitter. There's his Twitter handle right there. And let's jump into the actual table for the players for the tournament. All right, this is the top 29. Like I said before, I think it was supposed to be 32, but I guess we only had 29 people attending on the day of. And as you can see, I've listed it out here, but we had 11 Sakazukis, 7 Katakuris, 4 Yamatos, which I was so hyped to see. I'm a Yamato stan. I'm a Yamato main in OPO6, probably will be in OPO7 too. So that's who I was rooting for the whole time. And then we had 2 green Utas, which was like not completely out of left field because Uta did get stronger from EBO1, but it was pretty unexpected, I will say. And then you can see on the right side, there's one of each of these. There's one Moria, one blue Nami, which was Ayatora, one yellow Enel, which was a really spicy build. They ran this like crazy rush aggro Enel deck, and it does really well into Sakazuki, and you can tell that's why they were running it. Unfortunately, it was Ka. His name is Ka, and he was the one who he killed everyone with Black Blue Rebecca back in an earlier CS, I think like last year, one of the earlier ones. And he unfortunately he had lethal, and he misplayed, and I guess he forgot that he had an Enel in trash that he could have played with the new EBO1 event, and unfortunately he misplayed, and then his opponent I think had exact counter to get out of his other lethal attack. So really unfortunate, but he's an amazing player, and like I said, like I don't blame. Sometimes when you make a mistake like that on a stage like that, there's just you can't beat yourself up about it. You're so nervous. There's like between like 5 and 15,000 people watching you at any time on YouTube on this, like on the stream on this thing, right? But yeah, blue purple Reiju, which we didn't get to see, so, and I don't have the list for that. And then red Zoro, and this was Natsume, who's a really good player, and he got 5th place. So we will be taking a look at that, and then we're going to be taking a look at, obviously I have all of the top 6 except for 3rd place, so but I think it's another Sakazuki, so we get to see like at least one of each of them. But let's move on here. So this was the top 8, and sorry, I think my camera is blocking this person, so I moved it over and showed the arrow right. We had the top. Let's look at the top left. Was going from the top left is yellow green Yamato player Kabu. He was running the Sky Island, mostly Sky Island build, and then Shiroko-kun, he was running Katakuri. This is actually who got runner up. Then we had Ka, who I was just talking about. He had the yellow Enel, the rush aggro version, and then Shuge, who I believe got fourth place, I think. We'll see in a second. He had black blue Sakazuki. Adamo, you can see up here in the top right, black blue Sakazuki. B had black blue Sakazuki, and then you had Natsume's red Zoro, and then you had Tsuki Usagi's green Uta. So if you haven't seen the stream, you're obviously about to get spoilers, and I've already spoiled some of it. But let's just go from the top. Let's start from who got first, and that's right, it was green Uta. So in a crazy kind of like unexpected turn of events, seeing Uta in the tournament is not that crazy. Okay, like it got a lot stronger from EBO1, just with the new 2K Sanji and the blue no blocker. Now there you just like almost can't miss, and like with the Uta leader effect, right? And it's just really strong, and you can still use like the 3-cost Mihawk to cheat out Brook, to cheat out another character, or play Zoro if you need to. And yeah, the events are just really strong. And I just gotta say, I think, like I was watching this tournament, and then afterwards I was thinking a lot about it. And it just really goes to show you how much, like, yes, the deck is really important, how strong the leader is really important, but like knowing what your game plan is for the tournament that you're going into and playing around that and like planning around that is so important. Tsuki Usagi, which means like moon rabbit in English, he even said afterwards that he was debating between red purple law, which is extremely powerful right now. I think if there was more time in between EBO1 and Nationals, I think you would have seen a few more red purple law players instead of like Sakazuki or this green Uta. But he said that he just felt that Uta was a little bit safer. But yeah, that was the main reason, and he went with Uta, which is kind of crazy because even in OPO6, even after EBO1, Sakazuki is still a favorite matchup into Uta. Like in OPO5, Sakazuki pretty much just destroys Uta. Like yes, if you get enough characters on board, you can go wide and you can like essentially rush down Sakazuki. But like any deck can do that if you're high rolling and they're not drawing well or bricking or something, right? But my guy Tsuki Usagi just saw, man. He just saw it. He just saw the lines, and like credit to him, like props to him for how well he played. I don't know if he played every game like exactly 100% perfect, right? But my God, this guy had like laser focused lethal vision. He like go watch his matches. Every time it seems like he was like, okay, if I don't go for it this turn, this was what was so impressive. It wasn't even like I'm gonna lose next turn. He's like, I might lose next turn or the turn after, so I really need to go for lethal. Into like the Sakazuki matchups that he had. And man, I'll just say like I'm invincible. The Watashi wa Saikyo is like is so good into Sakazuki. Especially, it was kind of crazy, but it just seemed like all the Sakazukis were bricking so hard on stream, and it was kind of wild because Sakazuki does run a little bit more counter now, I think, because you run the 1-cost Tashigi Searcher, which is a 1k counter, and but I don't know, it depends on the build, right? But this guy just, his playing, I want to commend him on his playing. Like, he saw lethal with like Hawkeye vision and just knew exactly what to do. His ability to read his opponent was amazing, and you can tell that it's like he's just a very good skilled player when it comes to preparing and like specifically preparing for a certain tournament and seeing the meta and seeing what would work. Like, if you had told me before the tournament like there's gonna be 11 Sakazukis in the top 29, should I bring green Uta? Like, if you asked me that, I'd be like, no, that's crazy. You're probably gonna lose. Like, even if you're cracked, right? But this dude was cracked, and I don't know. It was just crazy. His list, I can't, like, this is pretty standard. Obviously, he's not running 10-drop Dofi, but I think most of the decks in EBO1 with Uta opt to run 8-cost Kid, because I guess it's just more value. And I don't know. He's this is his Twitter down here, and he is writing like a note, which is kind of like, I've talked about these before. It's kind of like a Patreon kind of thing where you write an article and then people can just like, they can list it for free or you can pay. He's currently writing it. I think he's going to be done by the time this video is out, so check his Twitter for that if you're interested. Unfortunately, on note, it depends on whatever credit card or like whatever payment system you're using is, because a lot of people, unfortunately, like overseas, haven't been able to purchase a lot of the notes that I've been talking about from some of these players. So I'm sorry about that, and I haven't found a workaround, so apologies for that. But like, this is a pretty standard list, right? I think 10-drop Dofi could work in an Uta list still, probably in EBO1, but I think this was just more consistent and more solid. And I can't comment on like anything besides just how good he played and how like even in the finals against Katakuri, I thought he was maybe taking his life too fast, but he timed it perfect. He was just making sure that his opponent wouldn't be able to hurt him with 10 cost Big Mom, but also getting the early card draw that would like every time I thought like, oh, maybe he could have done this or maybe he could have done that, I got proven wrong. Like, he was just like, no, this dude's 5-head. He's a Giga Chad. He knows exactly what he's doing. So yeah, congrats to him. Congrats to Tsuki Usagi-san. Really, really cool. I mean, it's cool that like a non-Sakazuki leader or like a Uta is kind of meta after EBO1, but this is essentially a non-meta deck just taking nationals, which is kind of crazy, but really cool to see, and just shouts out to him. Let's move on to second place. So you might have I was talking about it already, but it's Yellow Katakuri, and this was Shiroko-kun. That's how he spells it, and that's kind of how you pronounce it underneath. That's why I did that. That's his Twitter down there too. A little bit interesting, I do have a few things to talk about for this list. 4 Kikunojo and 4 Nekamamushi. So the 4 Kikunojo is pretty standard. You do normally see a lot of Katakuris running 4 Nami, probably instead of that Nekamamushi. And then they have the new Flampe, the 1-drop up at the top. That's from EBO1. It's really good. On play, take a life and draw a card. It's a 2k counter, and it's a Big Mom Pirates typing, right? So the Nekamamushi, and they were talking about this on stream, is essentially probably he's running this instead of like Onami or Sanji blocker, because the trigger effect is if your opponent is at 3 or less life, play this card for no cost. You don't have to discard a card or anything, you just play it. and its effect is Dawn 2. This character, like, put 2 Dawn on this character can attack your opponent's active characters, which is really, really good into like a Borsalino or a Sabo. So that might be also why he's taking that. And then Gidatsu is, you know, just Gidatsu. It's really good. Yeah, kind of a little bit of a spicy list. I can see why it did well. It's definitely teched. I think this is teched around like facing Sakazuki's and probably even the mirror a little bit too. Just with like his choice of trigger cards and all that. Yeah, the player he was really good too. There was I'll try not to spoil everything. I'll just talk about certain things. So there's some things that are inevitable. I'm gonna spoil them, but yeah, really, really good. And just in the last game, you know, I think Tsuki Usagi-san, he just like outplayed him a little bit. But yeah, that's second place. Let's move on to the next one. So like I said, we don't have the third place one, and please, first and second for sure, this is what it is. For fourth, fifth, and sixth, I'm not 1000% sure. I'm pretty sure these are all the top 6, right? But I'm not 1000% sure. Like, the tournament literally just happened yesterday. We don't have all the information in the world. I had to do a lot of digging and like putting all this stuff together by myself. But so please, I apologize if I get any of this information wrong. But all the names and Twitters and everything in the deck list should be right. So this is fourth place. It was the Black Sakazuki player, and this was Shuge. And he played really well too. He was on stream once or twice. I forget. I think it was twice. And here's his Twitter over here too, if you want to check it out. Taking a look at his list, this is the new Brook that got introduced from EBO1. It's on play and when attacking, give up to one of your opponent's characters cost -1, and then KO one of your opponent's cost 0 characters. So really, really good, and it has a counter. So like I was saying, is like Sakazuki actually probably runs more counter in this build than it does in like the OPO5 build. I guess you could argue they might be running more events, and you still got the 4-cost Moria here. So I'd have to actually look, but it's essentially the same, right? Like, but it still has the problem of like, yes, Sakazuki can brick even when you're cycling, right? And one thing I think he said, he runs 3 Kuzans because he just finds them really useful in a lot of matchups, especially yellow, which I totally understand. This would be pretty huge into like Katakuri matchups and stuff like that. Considering Katakuri was the second most represented leader at nationals, I totally understand that. Yeah, and this is T-Bone, the new 5-cost 2K, one of the new cards from EBO1, and this 2-cost event at the bottom that is essentially Lucci effect, just in a 2-cost event. It's really crazy. But this is a pretty standard Sakazuki list as of right now in the current meta, and yeah, it was just weird. It was just weird because it seemed like every Sakazuki on stream just started bricking like crazy, and then like their opponents just had like crazy 5-head vision. I mean, there are tells, right? Like when you're using a 2K or you're taking a life on a 5K attack when you should like 1K counter out if you have it. Obviously, there are things that you can read and tell from your opponents as the attacking player. But I do want to give a little like a heartfelt shout out to all the Sakazuki players who were just bricking like crazy that entire tournament. I'm not a big Sakazuki fan either, but man, it like you hate to see it sometimes, even if it's like the best deck in format that you don't really want to see win, right? So commiserations to all the Sakazuki players out there that were their nats yesterday. But there's also one I wanted to mention this because before I forget, really. At the very end of the stream yesterday, they mentioned that after Worlds, they will be announcing like a new updated restriction and ban list. And a lot of like, it was like cliffhanger shit. They were like, yeah, well, it's like, because I was watching too, and I thought they were about to announce it, and then I realized like, oh, it's at the World Final, like after the World Final. And I believe that's correct. Sorry if I get any of this info wrong, but it was kind of crazy. So a lot of people are speculating that Houndblaze is going to get hit. And I totally agree, and I actually think it might be, I think Houndblaze might get banned and Rebecca might get restricted. Because if they hit Moria, then like Moria leader is basically unplayable, and I don't know if that would be, I don't know if it would balance things out. It might kind of just like make it really bad for people. For them, black players would have like, they'd have to play Sakazuki, you know? So I think hitting Rebecca would be good, because Rebecca's probably going to be really good in the OP07 Lucci leader as well, just getting some of those combos. So we'll see, but I just wanted to mention that before I forgot. So at least the East is going to have an updated, I don't know if it'll apply immediately to the West, we'll have to see, but keep an eye out for all that. Let's move on though to the next list here. All right, this is the 5th place, or at least top 5, Red Zoro here. Natsume bringing it home with Zoro. Such a Giga Chad move here. Really smart though. I mean, as you saw in like the EU Nats, and a little bit more so in EU Nats, I think we had a lot of the higher topping Zoros, and I think there was the red purple Luffy at American Nats too, and some other Zoro players. So it's not the craziest choice, right? Especially because this new Kid and Killer card from EB01, this is the alt art for it. It's so good. This card is cracked in this deck. It's a rush, and then when attacking, if your opponent's at 2 or less life, this character gets plus 2k power. So if your opponent's at 2 or less life, it just becomes a rush 7k for 4 Dawn. It's crazy. This card is also one of the main reasons that Red Purple Law is like basically tier 1 right now. Just super good. So nothing like too crazy, right? Just kind of an addition of some of like the new cards. And you got the Jambes there, and the Bad Manners Kit Course. You got the buggy SPs too. I literally just noticed that. Those are so good. What a flex. What a flex, dude. Yeah, and these like championship Zoros. Natsume is like a really decorated player. He's really good. I'm not surprised he got 5th. I'm almost surprised he didn't get higher, honestly. I think if it would have been, I forgot who he lost to. I'd have to check his matches, but yeah, here's his Twitter here at the bottom too, or in the middle over here. Please, if you want to follow all these players, I know they are all putting stuff up in Japanese, but you can always use Translate on Twitter and everything. And yeah, shout out to Natsume. He's a really good player. I know a lot of people were like kind of betting on him to like win it. So it's cool though, because he's going to Worlds now. The top 6, I should have mentioned this earlier, my apologies. The top 6 from this tournament go to Worlds, which is kind of crazy because most of the nationals up until now were like 2 for like multiple countries sometimes as well. So I guess I get it. It's kind of like it's Japan, it's their game. The Worlds is happening over here. I think 4. I think top 4 would have been fair. Maybe give everyone else like 1 more slot, but I don't know. Well, I'm not a TO, so I don't know what I'm talking about. That was 5th place. Let's take a look at the last and my favorite deck out of the top 6 here. It's Yamato. Let's go. So I believe this is 6th place. It kind of has to be. Like I said, like I don't have the official like 100% confirmed like this is 5th, this is 4th, this is 6th place, but it was confirmed by the player Kabu that he got top 6. So like just trying to put all the info together is like I think this is 6th place though. He played a match on, and this is his Twitter here. Sorry, it's like just a crazy name here, but if you type that in, you'll find it. I promise. He was on stream against the Sakazuki, and dude, it was crazy. He had some balls. He had some balls, and he played the Sakazuki's last like attacking turn. Kabu played really well because he took the life at the right time. And then he had 2 You're the One Who Should Disappear, the 0 cost 3k counter, and Izo, and then his last life was Sugar. And man, sorry, I said no spoilers, so I'll stop there. Really good game. If you're a Yamato fan, go watch that. I won't tell you if he wins that match. You'll have to go find out for yourself. But let's talk about the list here. This is EB01 Ace. This Ace is so good. This Ace is amazing. I like this Ace basically gave Yamato the ability to stay like a top tier deck, in my opinion. And it works really well with the Sky Island build. So what you saw a lot of people doing is like at the start of OP06, Sky Island was really popular. It kind of fell off. There was like a Wano hybrid that was working really well for a while. You're running Zoro to beat Enel and Katakuri. And then it shifted, you know, Fortress Yamato got popular for a while, but it still kind of gets beaten by Sakazuki and Black, and Perona can kind of take care of it too a little bit. But then we got ABO1, and this ace comes out, and this is a 5-cost 7k. If your opponent, or if you are at 2 or less life, this character gets rushed. So it's a 5-cost 7k rush, and then if you have leader effect active, you put the 2 Rested Dawn on him, and it's a 5-cost 9k rush, and it's ace in a Yamato deck, and it just works so well. I'm so glad they're like creating these thematically, like Bandai with the One Piece card game is really, really good with these like thematics, like these themes, like interweaving the themes of the story into like the actual decks, which is probably no easy task. So I will give them a huge shout out for that. And it just feels, this is one of those cards that just feels so good to play. And if you're an ace stan, I'm an ace stan and a Yamato stan, so I'm a happy camper with this card. 4 Hody, 4 Ace, 4 Amaru, 4 L4, which is kind of a lot. 4 You're the One Who Should Disappear, which is also kind of a lot. 4 Izo, 4 Satori, Ohm, Holy, that's pretty standard. 4 Nami is standard. Then we get to the Spice. 4 Sugar. I have seen people tech this in before. I keep my eye on like as many of the Yamato lists as I can. And this is not anything too new. This Gibson isn't either. This got popular with the Fortress build, and then people were taking it and putting it into their own Yamato decks. But I get it. You do see Sugar does come in handy a lot too, especially when like Izo is 3 Dawn, so it can kind of like the 3 Dawn can be costly sometimes. If you have Sugar instead, like if you're on your 6 Dawn turn and you really want to rest that Borsalino blocker and swing 9k, you can't, because it's going to be 3 and 3. You're going to be swinging 8k at your opponent, unless you like, and you don't want to use an Amaru that early, right? But if you have Sugar, boom, you rest it, and then you get all 4 Dawn to put on your leader, swing 9k. So the actual use cases are a lot in Yamato. I think Sugar being teched, this is like the best. Some people tech Sugar into non-Don Quixote, Doflamingo family decks, and I don't think it really works most of the time. This is one of the only times where I actually think it works. 4 Shura, because you just it's too good, right? You get this out of life, and then you're probably looking for your events or just to set up your Ohm Holy, right? And then the 2 Gibson, just the trigger is amazing. It can save you, and the Gibson is actually really, really good in the Yamato mirror. And there was 4 Yamatos at Nationals, so like facing a Yamato in the mirror was definitely a possibility. But shout out to Kavu, he played it really, really well. I'm gonna be trying out a list like this when I go to Worlds. I've been shifting back over to the Sky Island build, so I might try Sugar. I'm actually really excited. And once EBO1 is on the sim, I'll be trying this deck out too. So if you wanna watch me on Twitch, I play a lot of games. I do the One Piece games on Twitch. We're doing the Iron Man challenge right now, but we'll be done soon. So yeah, just huge shout out. So excited that Yamato made it top 6, because they lost to the Katakuri player like off stream, and I wasn't sure. I think they played like the losers bracket to see who got like 6th, 7th, and 8th essentially, and I believe this Yamato played Enel afterwards. I saw on their Twitter, I think they said they played Enel and they won, so they got 6th place. So so excited for that. The only thing that kind of sucks is Worlds is OPO5 for the main tournament, right? Like if you're doing matching battle or the other side tournaments, I believe it's OPO7 viable. Yes, because that will be out by then. So I don't have to worry about it, but yeah, like I wanted, if Yamato could have won Worlds, I would have freaked out, man. And I think Kabu probably would have brought Yamato, because again, like every time people sleep on Yamato, or they're like, oh no, she's not that good anymore, the leader's not that good anymore, it's really good into Sakazuki, and Sakazuki is still one of, if not the best deck in format throughout like essentially all of OPO6, right? So I mean, and Yamato's just good into a lot of matchups. Yes, Moria is tough. It has some other matchups, but I think this Sky Island build right here is like a well-oiled machine. You don't have Hiyori and Momonosuke, which is going to be the most uncomfortable thing for me because that's a combo that I really love. But you still got Onami. This new ace and all the events, I think you get your opponent's going to be at 2 or less life pretty quick with Yamato, hopefully. So you'll be able to use L4 whenever you need it. It's a really interesting list, and unfortunately, yes, there's the EBO1 Ace, but that's the only card that's not out at the start of OPO6. So you could always tech this for like 7 Russian L or something like that. And if you wanted to try out this list as soon as possible, right? If you're from the West and maybe you're North America and you want to play Yamato for OPO6, I would suggest trying this list and switching Ace for either 4 Russian L or like 2 or 3 Russian L and like maybe either Rush Katakuri or just teching in another card, or maybe running like 2 Hioris just for the extra counter or something like that, right? But yeah, just huge shout out to Kabu. Always good to see Yamato being represented in these tournaments, and I can't wait to see I might be rooting for him at Worlds. I'll have like a few 2 or 3 players that I'm really rooting for, you know. I think Kabu is going to be one of them just because they did so well with Yamato, so I got to give them the support, you know. But yeah, that's it for the lists and everything. The tournament was awesome. Like I said, they're going to be announcing a new ban restriction list after Worlds. I really, if you haven't seen the stream, go watch it. I'm sorry I spoiled a few things, but it's hard not to when you're doing like an overview of all this stuff, right? It was unexpected. Like the results we got were unexpected. The decks that were like in the top 29 were not very unexpected. So I think that was pretty typical. But then this is why I love One Piece, is like, you never know what's gonna happen in these big tournaments, and when the top of the top go to meet up, like, man, it's just a different game. It's a different ball game at that point, right? All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was helpful. I hope you had fun, like seeing who won, and it was you know, informational for you for like going over the deck lists and everything. Let me know if you have any questions. I can try and answer them to the best of my abilities if it's something to do with like the Japanese to English language barrier or something like that. But yes, I will be at Worlds on March 2nd. I don't know if I'll be there on March 3rd, but I will be playing in the 3-on-3 tournament with some friends, and I will be trying to go around there and like say hi to people, or like, you know, there's a few people that I'm trying to meet up with, a few players, a few like Japanese players as well. But I also would love to meet some of the creators and the YouTubers and players on the English side as well, because you know, I'm from America. I may live in Japan, but I'm from America. I'm American, all right. But yeah, really excited for Worlds. But just for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.